This conference will now be recorded.
Alrighty. The Town of Cottage Grove Plan Commission will hold a public meeting on Tuesday, November 26th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall at 4058 County Road N. You can also join the meeting by GoToMeeting. We have a quorum present. The meeting was posted at the Town Hall and on the website. I'll call the meeting to order. You have the minutes of the October 23rd meeting in your packet.
Is that a motion? I would turn mine off. Move to approve. I don't see any changes.
Motion by Mule. Is there a second?
Oh, thank you.
Second by Myler to approve the minutes for October 23rd as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Abstentions, motion carried. Next item is public concerns, public's opportunity to speak to the Plan Commission about any subject that's not a specific agenda item. Do we have anyone online for it?
Just Mark is online.
Okay. Moving on to Randall and Maureen Graber, petitioners and landowner, parcels 0711-192-8600-0 and 0711-192-8290-0 at 3895 Vilas Hope Road. Petition for a rezone of 34.14 acres from FP 35 to FP 1 and 0.97 acres from FP 35 to RR 2 and 0.01 acres from RR 2 to FP 1 to adjust lot line to include driveway and outbuilding in the residential lot.
That is me.
Come on up. Have a chair. Tell us all about it.
Well, we built the house 12 years ago. The original homestead was down by the road. And we
Yeah.
had it rezoned, resurveyed, all with proper permits to move the building parcel on the top of the hill. We didn't realize until we put natural gas when it came in front of the house, that part of the driveway was on one parcel and part of the driveway was on the other parcel. So it makes it very difficult for us if we ever want to split those, that we'd have to have an easement for the driveway. So this is just trying to clean it up. The same thing with the barn that's on the property. When we built the house, we had electricity stubbed to the barn, so we'd have service there.
Mhm.
And now we have the same problem, is electricity is from one parcel and the barn is on the other parcel. So this is intended to just clean that up so that all of those, the barn and the one garage next to that, which is serviced with electricity from the house, is on the same parcel as the house, and the driveway's on one parcel. And I own both parcels.
And what?
I own both
Oh,
parcels.
sure. And is there a little shed closer to Vilas?
There is
That stays
an
with
old
the-
garage, a smokehouse, and a new shed that I was
From
properly,
the old,
where the old farmhouse was.
Yeah.
That's on the other parcel, the
so it's
FP1.
part of the FP
That's correct.
1 that's going to.
You don't want to include that in.
No.
Kim, does that become a problem that you have an outbuilding that's not associated with a house, but it's okay if it's on FP1 land?
They already do, so, I mean, that must be how they got it. And
Okay.
it's on FP.
And we properly permitted the shed, and the shed has its own gas and electricity on a completely separate system.
That must be how they got it, you know?
Yeah,
So it looks like you've put that far eastern line on the new rezone, is 66 feet away from the property line.
I don't know what Williamson did.
It looked like it on the drawing to me.
The far east one?
Yeah, they're running north and south. Oh, no, it's more than that. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's 66.
Yeah,
and then
66.
The building is 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So at least in case we ever want to do something stupid like put a road in there, at least you have enough room.
You could,
Yeah.
but
Or you have enough room for farm equipment too. That's what I was worried about mainly. So that's good.
any other questions, comments?
And there's no problem with having that building separate then. That's what is it, a clearing building?
it was put up by the Amish, but it's the same, it's a pole barn.
Yeah, hold on.
It already is separate.
Yeah, there's no problem with it being separate.
Yeah, it was put on there when it was two separate parcels already.
Oh, it was? I
No,
was under the impression it was on there when you had the old farmhouse.
no, we just built that probably 2 years ago.
There's no questions, action?
I'll move approval of the petition to rezone 34.14 acres from FP 35 to FP 1.97 acres from FP 35 to RR2 and .01 acre. That's gotta be like this big.
Yeah.
It's a little triangle.
I mean, yeah, it's just to, from RR2 to FP1 to adjust the lot lines.
Motion by Anders, is there a second?
Second that.
Second by Mark to approve the rezone of 34.14 acres from FP 35 to FP 1 and .97 acres from FP 35 to RR 2 and .01 acres from RR 2 to FP 1. So your, I guess, your new lot 2 is just under 3 acres. Any discussion on that motion?
Is it going back to the FP1? Is there any, well, there's probably not enough land to keep it FP 35.
No, because it's under 35.
Not by much, but like I said, it's just.
Had to go to 1.
That's fine.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Town board will meet on December 2nd, this coming Monday, to act on it.
Okay, and I know I go for the county on the 17th of December. Is it necessary for me to be here on the 2nd? Is that a good idea? Or do you think it'll be a,
You probably won't question much, but if they do, you'll have wished you were there.
Won't take
I
long.
guess that's
all
how.
right.
Yeah, it won't take
You
long.
could also jump
Yeah, I can
online.
zoom in too. I'll see what my schedule looks like.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good Thanksgiving Day.
You too. Next item is discuss and consider adoption of resolution 2024-11-26, recommending amendments to the Town of Cottage Grove Comprehensive Plan and replacing Resolution 2024-10-23B. And Mark is online with us.
Yes, thank you, Chris. I'll be brief. The commission, you'll recall, your last meeting, you recommended approval of a 2024 set of comprehensive plan amendments based on your every other year cycle now. After you made your motion, Chris called an appropriate timeout and asked, hey, have we talked to the county about these amendments? I said no, and that was my bad. We did then have a chance to talk to the county staff and got some input on them. Chris, Kim and I met with Majid Allen and Rachel Holloway from county planning staff. The essence of their comments related to making sure that they and we are not inadvertently promoting development in areas that should not develop, specifically commercial development areas. And specifically those areas that have some soil conditions that might make it difficult to develop or develop with wastewater treatment, on-site wastewater treatment systems as opposed to holding tanks. So we had a good conversation. It seems from that conversation that the folks from Dane County Environmental Health, the county sanitarian, aren't necessarily of a single mind as to the wisdom of holding tanks as a system of any resort within the areas of Dane County. So what we've suggested, and we kind of ran this language by the county, was to ask you guys to re-recommend an ordinance amendment. Everything in the amendment, if you want to go forward, Kim, is the same as you recommended last time, except for the language that's highlighted. So I added a couple whereas clauses that just sort of, for future posterity explains what happened and how this replaces what you did last month. Regardless, this has to go to the town board for its approval. And then you have to page through a few more pages till you get to page 5, where you see proposed changes that are being recommended here. The change on page 10 that's highlighted is focused on a county staff suggestion, which I support, and that is to get a good sense up front when land's being proposed for rezoning or conditional use permit, whether it might have soils that are going to be difficult for on-site waste treatment systems and may inadvertently promote holding tanks as an alternative. And then it proceeds to include additional rationale for that type of recommendation. And then further forward in, I think it's 12 or 13, it suggests that we already had some language, there it is, regarding allowing holding tanks only as a system of last resort that we were being proposed. County staff made the good point in that, we may inadvertently, through rezoning or conditional use permit approvals, be approving development in exactly the wrong places if we don't know up front where those poorer soils are. So in response, I added a couple more phrases, and it basically said, we'll allow holding tanks as a system of last resort, but this A through D now are what you have to go through to make that happen. And so it's not just signing a legal agreement that you're going to pump it and so forth, and the town can charge you if you don't, but it's also this upfront stuff that we try to get folks to not plan development or propose development that requires on-site waste treatment or any kind of septic disposal in areas that are not suitable for it. And then you see the last proposed addition on screen right now. The rest of the resolution is the same. We had some other discussions with county staff on other related issues. I think they were ultimately satisfied that, we had our heads on straight. And so we're recommending, or I'm recommending tonight, that the commission adopt this resolution to replace what you did last month. Thank you.
I have 2 questions.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Mark, these are directed towards you, or at least the first one is for sure. On page 6, item 12B,
Okay.
can you explain the meaning of that statement?
Yeah, so I might as well just give an example to be direct about it. In with the Swalheim plat, you all kind of experienced and then re-experienced that when it was found out that certain areas were not suitable for septic systems. So what this is saying is that once you do that sort of analysis of where these hydric soils are and get some information on that you will consider redesigning or reconfiguring lots in such a way that you shift lots away from those areas that are less suitable. So you're not creating a system of last resort situation inadvertently.
Okay, so I guess the main word that confused me a little bit was the word site, and basically you're talking about the whole development in the case of Swalheim, is that correct?
Yeah, and we could, you could certainly cluster development parts of the, development site or something like that. But yeah,
No,
that was.
No. Yep. And then lastly, again, as long as you brought it up, going back to the Swalheim situation, in the land in the areas that were clearly not capable in any way, shape, or form of having an on-site waste disposal system, are you saying that even though we're going to allow holding tanks, that we could deny the development of, that portion of the property that would not be suitable for a conventional, a normal type septic system?
Yes, if you get to it quick enough. So, I don't have all the history that you guys have on that development, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But with the proposed language, and assuming we follow it and implement it and pay attention to it, that all that land wouldn't have been rezoned, sort of in the first place in the way it was. So you can kind of pick and choose what zoning designations go on what pieces based on, how suitable it may be for a on-site treatment system.
Okay. That's all I had. Thanks.
You gonna answer your question?
That was my question.
Well, I'm gonna get there. Mark, this is Dave. I have 2 questions for you. On number 14, page 7, the rewording, it speaks about residential in the first sentence because we added the word residential. And when I read this, it was confusing to me. I had to read it 3 times, so maybe it's not the worst, it's only 3 times. Then the next sentence says holding tanks may be permitted for existing structures and in the planned commercial. Should we say permitted for existing residential and commercial structures? Or does the absence of those 2 words mean they're included already?
Well, I think the absence would say they're included, and it probably then, also means if there's agricultural structures or if there's a church or, something that doesn't fall neatly into those 2 residential or commercial, it would still be encapsulated. So I'd be careful to add more language because you might inadvertently exclude some type of other structure that you meant to include.
In other words, less is more.
Probably in this case.
And then unrelated to sewer systems, the last, or map 16.
Yeah.
Can you go in your Wayback Machine and there's a planned bike or planned trail along the Koshkonong Creek north of the bike trail on the east side of the township. When did we ever talk about that?
I don't know.
I'm not opposed to it, but I just never noticed it before.
Yeah, boy, you're right, Dave. You know, I don't recall the source of that. My supposition is that it's a it's a conceptual trail in the county park and open space plan, but that's just a guess. And you know, it's I could do some more research and get back to you at the next meeting. But it's not a new addition. It was on the plan map in 2022. Um, but that's my
Yeah,
best guess right now, Dave, and I can dig a little further after this meeting if you wanted me to.
could be some county input on that they
Yeah,
already had. Okay, that makes sense to me.
yeah, it's
Just,
you know those are hard things, as you may know, to get accomplished because it runs through a lot of private property, and you need to get a lot of land to make that sort of thing happen.
well, there's a lot of other alternative uses for that dike that would get built, so including maintenance of the creek. So if you're talking to someone who's really in favor of it. And some farmers have even actually asked me now, should we have a bike trail along the creek?
Yeah,
So
okay.
it was surprised to see it written or drawn in there. That was pretty cool. Okay, that's all I got.
All right, anyone else? Any questions?
I got for the planning committee, based on what Mark was talking about, when we talk about lands that are suitable for the development to begin with, whether it's either too wet or whatever it may be. One was parcel that we added last month, was that 10-acre piece. We're adding it into the neighborhood or into the commercial development. Yeah. And I wasn't in favor of adding it because of what it was. It's marsh. Okay. So going back on what Mark said, is it more feasible now to actually look and verify and make sure that that meets soils that would be good for development before you say, yeah, go ahead and put it into the commercial development area? So I guess I'm asking, can we remove it until we get this owner to go and get data and information saying, yeah, this is going to be fine for development before we do the whole thing all over again with like the Swahheim? I guess that's my question. And I know there was something about an illegal land division there. If that got,
Yes,
got cleaned up.
no, not yet.
So I wanted to get the committee's thought on that. Throw it out there.
Basically asking the landowners or developer to come in with soil test results or something to say what they can do.
Because of its.
So you know ahead of time,
Yes.
so you're not running the same thing you got down on
Yeah,
North Star Road.
and that's the part is there's no sense in putting it into the commercial development if it won't meet a standard.
But you could always move it back out if it didn't meet
Yeah,
the
we could,
standards.
but that's the part is you'd be making him before he could even do any sort of development. He would have to be approved prior. He would have to have the information prior. Either way, he would have to have the information, yes, if we so ask him to do it. But there should be something there to say, hey, you want this land into the commercial development, you gotta prove that it's gonna be worthy to be in there. Because you're not, it's like you're doing it for yourself. You're gonna market this, you're gonna put it out, it's gonna be sold, and somebody's gonna end up with either a headache or a big problem. I kind of wondered about that, the 3 lots that have already been done off of North Star Road for Dwayne, if there's a problem there. And even for the person that wants to have that automotive place down there, without the sanitary sewer system, it's a whole new world for him now, putting in a holding tank. Everything that's in that building, automotive fluids, whether it's antifreeze, oils, whatever it may be, the sewer system and hand wash stations, all that goes in that holding tank now. According to DNR. So that'd be a DNR permitted thing. Mark, am I right in saying that?
Oh,
Is that
I
true?
I don't think it's unreasonable at all if you have evidence that a particular piece of land is not developable to ask for proof that it is before you change your plan to signal it for development. So, and Kim, I don't know if there's an ability to share screen, but I do have a map that
Sure.
kind of shows that. Right now I'm blocked from sharing, but it's fine if it's not, and I could email it to you too.
There, I just made you the presenter.
Okay. Yeah, so I did take a second look at that, and I'm going to give myself the ability to draw on this map. Useful.
You could do that before.
Well, if there's somebody out there, that's not very nice, but.
So?
So, right now, there's the comp plan has an allowance for, I'll say that line couldn't have been narrower, but let me just wind it up a little bit here. Well, this isn't working terribly well, but just if you see where the hands or the arrow and hand are tracing right now, the comp plan says that everything south of that line is planned for commercial development. So someone could come, and request a rezoning for that area. What's been added, let's see if I can do this a little bit better, or what's proposed to be added is basically a triangle. There you go.
Yeah.
And that triangle encompasses, I'll just get rid of it for a second, this little finger or tongue of lands that are indicated as potential, probably, they may have been wetland in the past, but they were filled or drained. They're soil indicators that suggest they may be wetland. But it also includes an upland area that isn't designated that way. So, this is a judgment call, but, when I put this together and, for you to consider, I said, well, yeah, where the crosshairs are right now may be a perfectly fine development site with a septic system. And then maybe you have a driveway to get back there, and, or yard area or something in between. Assuming that this wetland indicator area is in fact not developable, like, with a septic like that Walheim piece was.
Yeah.
So, but you could go either way and you wouldn't be wrong. We have the language that, we've been talking about tonight that says, okay, even though you're in the commercial development area, prove it and submit a soil test with your rezoning application.
To the east.
So we know that we're not, creating a situation where we're, allowing a lot to develop an area with a septic system. So I don't think either way is a wrong way to handle it.
And I'm not proposing that anybody can just come in here and say, hey, here's what I want to do, please add it in. It may be that we don't need it in, or don't want it in, period. It's just, if it's something that they would consider, first step is figure out whether it's worthy of development.
Yeah. And this one, it kind of was an interesting one in that, we asked this gentleman, are you interested? And then we also asked, is it Larry Score who owns land to the north? We also asked him to the east, who if and when the east-west segment of North Star gets upgraded from, the cow path it is right now, that there's quite a bit of land that's likely developable back there. So it makes a little bit more sense, that little finger that you see on map 16, if you think about it in a bigger context. Now, he didn't want his land changed at the present time, but that was also a factor that I thought about, is this just going to be an isolated little finger where you have a storage building or whatever it is where the crosshair is right now, or it might be part of a bigger concept that fits in with the overall business park idea that the town is working towards in the North Star Road area.
Okay, but just asking the committee their feelings on it, kind of like, no, leave it, or okay, consider taking it out, because then if there was a motion made, I'd add it to the motion. So that's a question of the committee. Does everyone want to leave it alone, or would you be okay with a motion to remove it?
Dude, what was the last thing you said?
Remove it.
Oh,
Motion to remove or leave it alone?
I guess I would leave it alone with the additions that we made tonight,
Yeah.
possibly. That would limit it.
I would agree with Chris.
When we build a house, we make them do a perk test first, right? So if they don't get a perk test, they don't get a house right now, so. It's,
Leave it alone.
it's saying that right now in the modifications.
Okay.
You gotta go through all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah,
That's fine, I got it.
okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Any any other questions, comments? Action.
Let's do it.
Was that a motion?
Yes.
Motion by Anders.
I've never made a motion quite like that before.
That's why I wanted clarification.
Yes. I'll move that we adopt is this resolution 2024-11-26 with the suggested changes and verbiage from Mark Roffers, our planner.
And do you want to make a note in your motion too that it replaces
The previous
10-23B?
23B.
Okay. There is a motion. Is there a second?
Sure.
Second by Dave Mule to recommend approval of resolution 2024-11-26, recommending the amendments to the Town of Cottage Grove comp plan with it replacing resolution 2024-10-23B. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Mark. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Guys, happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
We need to set a date for a December Plan Commission meeting, because I assume you don't want to meet on Christmas Day.
Well, might be nice getting away from the family.
By that time, yeah. 18th?
18th would be probably
As good as anything.
I do have one application, so there is a need for a meeting.
18th is good with me.
18th. We will set the Plan Commission meeting for December on the 18th then,
7 feet.
7 PM.
Motion, or is that just general agreement?
General agreement. Don't want to make it too formal.
All right. And we're down to the last item.
I'll second.
Motion by Anders, second by Troy for adjournment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone. Watch out for the deer.